I have a good one. Lewis Cine might be in trouble because the Vikings signed a defensive back today. And I know what you're thinking. You're going, defensive back, great. He's going to play corner. Well, technically, Bobby McCain really is a corner by nature. 9-year veteran, played for Brian Flores in Miami in 2020, has spent time at corner and safety, but Brian Flores went to the podium and said he's going to play some safety for us. And if you're counting at home, the Viking safeties include, and I'm kind of putting them in semi-order on the depth chart, Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, Josh Metellus, Theo Jackson, Lewis Cine, and now Bobby McCain.
And
Now,
Najee Thompson, he switched to safety this
yeah.
offseason too.
So there you go. You have 7 safeties, and even if you don't know a lot about football, it's not great. Somebody's got to go. And you look at everybody and you go, which one offers the less? Apparently that's Cine because McCain started on the second team on Monday. So Lewis Cine is a goner, isn't he?
Well, he didn't practice today for the second time in a row, and there's been no indication or anything that he's hurt. So some have speculated that maybe the Vikings are trying to just trade him now, and they don't want him to get hurt, so they're keeping him off the field. The addition of McCain today. At first, I thought it was maybe to help out with cornerbacks because he's played in the slot before, and I thought maybe they'll bring him in to be the slot and then switch Byron Murphy back over to the outside. But with Brian Flores saying that he's a safety and him working with the second team immediately, it makes me think that he's probably coming to potentially replace Cine, who they're looking to move on sooner than later. So yeah, I don't think Lewis Cine's chances before training camp to make this team were already low, and I think what are they? This is their 4th, 5th practice in, and it already seems like they've already made a decision that he's just nothing's really changed, and we're just going to try and see if we can move on from him. We've tried these last 2.5 years, but it's just not a good fit. And the Vikings, they don't have a ton of draft picks next year, so they might as well see what they can get for him. See if another team needs a safety because he's still young. He's still, he hasn't played a lot, so he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on him. He did break his leg in his first season, and seems to say that he's recovered from that, and that's not something that's holding him back. So, maybe a fresh start somewhere else will help him out, but it just doesn't seem like he's a good fit for the Vikings. And I don't know if that's because they just have so many safeties, like Harrison Smith and Bynum and Metellus. I think they were originally planning on him probably to replace Harrison Smith, but he's still here. And then Bynum emerged and Metellus emerged, and now Theo Jackson's kind of on the same path. And Najee Thompson, they like to keep him around for special teams because he's really good at that. Then you bring in McCain, and he's already with the second team. So you're like, okay, so I guess Cine is done because they did keep 6 safeties last year. So I guess there's a chance. But with the addition of McCain, I think that's just no longer the case. So yeah, I think Lewis Cine, you can put a pretty good amount of money on him not being with the Vikings next season. Does he even make it to the first preseason game at this point? I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem good. I wasn't sure if you mentioned that I got a text and I had to turn my phone on D&D quick, but this was not a Brian Flores draft pick. This was an Ed Donatel draft pick. Yep. And sometimes, players can survive with a regime change, but maybe Ed Donatel, who wasn't very good for the Vikings, saw something in Lewis Cine and thought it could pan out. It was not panning out during his rookie year before he got hurt. Even in the preseason, there was some hope for him, especially with all the encouraging news with that injury, but it never materialized into anything. I think he had one game with 7 tackles last preseason, and it was like, oh, here we go. But he was missing tackles in the hole.
Yeah, it was against 3rd and 4th stringers.
If you're on the back end of Brian Flores' defense, you better tackle. Ask Caleb Evans how that's going because you need to tackle on the back end of Brian Flores' defense. And if you're making wrong decisions, if you're making wrong reads, I mean, Brian Osama, is he still on a milk carton somewhere? Because I haven't seen him. I haven't heard of the guy in 2 years.
Yeah.
And maybe part of that was due to injury. I'm not ripping him. I'm just stating a fact. He has been completely absent since everybody thought he was going to have a breakout campaign a year ago. So I don't know, man. This 2022 draft class, I mean, it could get worse. We could be at the end of this preseason. We could be sitting here and going like, wow, this is even worse. Like, especially if Ty Chandler, still Ty Chandler, running the wrong way and missing pass protections. Ed Ingram, I don't think his starting spot is secure.
No.
I mean, like it's getting pretty thin. And you know what?
And Andrew Booth.
Yep. Yeah. Andrew Booth Jr.
It's getting burned every day.
Yeah. We saw Jalen Naylor. Rare Jalen Naylor appearance.
Is he 2022 or 21?
He was 2022. Yes.
He is? Okay.
2020. Well, no, 2021 was the last year of Amir Smith-Marset. And I think Naylor got in the game the following year in 2022.
He might be 21.
Are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Okay. I didn't want
No, he's 22. Okay, you're right.
22.
You're right.
Yep. He was a 6th rounder in 2022. So
yeah.
He's fast.
I remember.
That's like the motto for the 2022 class. Well, he's fast. Yeah. Ty Chandler can't block, but he's fast. Jalen Naylor can't stay healthy, but he's fast.
I remember
Lewis
hearing
Cine
this.
Sucks, but he's fast.
I remember hearing the story about. I think it was Keenan McCardle. Was pounding the table for Jalen Naylor, and I'm like, you got him in the 6th round. You didn't have to pound the table.
Calm down, dude. We've been here all day.
No one's gonna get him. Don't worry.
Kyle Shanahan did that for Joe Williams, a running back out of Utah who retired at one point. And
probably because he played for the 49ers.
Gary Kubiak pounded the table for Alexander Madison. That worked out well.
Oh, he would. You know what? That's like an old Madison's like an old school Broncos running back, like Mike Shanahan days, where you could plug in literally your grandma and she would get 1,000. Yeah, Landis Gary, Reuben
Mike
Drone,
Anderson.
Yeah. Just throw a Mad Libs name in there and they would get 1,000 yards.
The NCAA, or excuse me, the college football 25 name generator, you're seeing all over.
Yeah.
Some of those are pretty funny, but then people are just oh, this sounds like an NBA player, so that's dumb. But yeah, I mean it's not looking great for Lewis Cine. And
who is even what do you think they could even get for him?
Conditional 7th.
Wow, that low already.
You have to bet that a coach is just has an ego trip and he's I can fix him.
Yeah, it would have to be a coach probably that either liked him before going in the draft or has probably had a past history with him before. I don't know if any of those coaches are in the league now because he went to Georgia, and I don't know if any of their defensive staff is in the NFL now. But yeah, it would have to be someone who's probably familiar with his skills and thinks that he has more to offer. But at the same time, is it really, is it a case of him just not being good enough to beat, Harrison Smith, who's arguably the best safety in Vikings history? You could argue that. Paul Krause is obviously there too. He's in the Hall of Fame. But Harrison Smith's been pretty damn good in his career. And Bynum and Metellus have just had a really good year last year. They've been trending upwards, and Scenes just really hasn't had a lot. 2027.
The Cam Akers pick. Dustin Roberts says 2027 7th round conditional pick on the YouTube channel.
The Timberwolves just give up 2035 pick or something?
Yeah, 2032 first round pick. They traded a 7th grader for Rob Dillingham.
Yeah. Okay. That's
NBA great. Trades.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because somebody was in the fan sided Slack, whatever today was asking because Matthew Judon with the Patriots he had an argument or whatever in practice and left with the coach, and I was or somebody asked what they could get for him, and I was he's gonna be 32. He's coming off a season-ending injury last year, and he wants more money. And I'm like, conditional fourth at best. So like, if someone like him can only get something like that, yeah, I don't think they're gonna get a lot for Lewis Cine. But
You also
at
have
this
to
point, do you really care what you get?
no. I mean, you just need picks next year. Like
Yeah.
if somebody's willing to give you a draft pick, you just make the deal. If you got a straight up cut bait, I mean, it's almost
Because if you trade him too,
I
you don't have
hate
to. You don't have to take. You don't have to like. I feel like you don't have to pay him whatever he's due this year. Like you give him the signing bonus, obviously, but then like his salary doesn't count for the Vikings.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's unfortunate. He seems like a decent kid.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with him. He just can't play football.
So
So
we don't think he's making the team, right?
no.
No. There's no chance.
I think at this point, if they're now Bobby McCain, I keep wanting to call him McClain, but Bobby McCain is signed to play corner, then it's a different conversation. But the fact that he just plugs right in and he's playing safety ahead of Cine, not a good sign.